Welcome to Getting Back Up, where grief meets growth.
Two men, two fathers, and one shared journey of rebuilding.
We're talking about life after cancer, love, loss, and everything no one tells you. I'm David McLean.
And I'm Jamal Jones.
Welcome back to Getting Back Up, Life After Death podcast.
Yeah, and there's this idea, Dave, that once you go through something as traumatic as loss, or any traumatic or difficult challenge you face, there's this idea that you're good, that life is going to be easy. It gave you got dished out some bad cards, and you get a new deck, and you're good again.
Okay.
But life doesn't necessarily give you a break.
Yeah. I mean, you think, okay, I've taken my hits. It's done. Let's keep moving.
No, doesn't work like that. No,
it isn't that way?
No, not at all.
Okay. Cause what's up?
So listen, I got one.
Okay. So you got some hits.
Got some hits.
Okay.
Took my lumps.
Okay.
Life's been, fairly smooth sailing.
So you're saying things come back around.
Something comes. I don't know if it comes back around,
but you're not done yet with the hits.
No, the hits keep coming. And I'm not talking about bad boy hits.
You are Babyface writing hit out.
Nah, it's not those.
You ain't Timberland over here. Missy.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, so it's about 2 weeks now. My wife, my family and I, we were coming back from a family trip to the West Coast. We went to Cali.
Okay.
And we drove up the coast. It was a beautiful trip.
Okay.
I got to unplug, decompress, de-stress, all the things that you should do during
all
vacation.
All stuff.
All of
yes,
them.
Yes.
Emails were on mute. Email, text chains that I didn't need to pay attention to were on mute. And came back, refreshed, so fresh and so clean, as they say, and got to work Monday morning. Went through most of the day and finished lunch, hopped on a call, and found out that my time was up.
Oh, man.
I got let go.
Oh, man.
I got let go.
Yeah.
I'd been with my company for a while, for a pretty good time period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was it.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was a hit.
That's a hit.
That's definitely one that
maybe a miss.
To
a degree and it happens. This is what we're talking about today. Just this idea that when you think some of the more challenging are over, then it hits you again. Yeah. And you have to rebuild. And you've done it once, you can do it again. So today we're going to kind of talk about this process of rebuilding and some thoughts and maybe some alternative careers for some, depending on where you are, whether age or experience as it relates to your career. So we want to see and we'll talk about some ideas, what's the next fit.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, right, I think, we'll tackle these in themes.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we'll call this one the second hit.
Okay.
And I think, for a lot of us grieving, spouses or those grieving a loss of a spouse, a lot of times, this is something that could happen earlier. Yeah. Right. For me, it's been several years since I lost. I've been remarried. I would say probably the only hit that we took was kind of going through COVID, right?
Yeah.
And navigating during that time period. But really, I felt like, my job at the time was secure, but a lot of, I did put a lot of weight in, that security, that financial security. And I know you and I talked about that now. For you going through that, we have these conversations about job security. How do you progress in your job? Right. But there's this element where it's like, man, I can't lose this job. It's just me. It's just one income.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember having that fear. And in many cases, it causes you to deal with a lot that you probably wouldn't deal with in a different situation.
But how does that kind of compare to grief and loss of a spouse?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you've gone through this moment where you just got hit really hard
Mhm.
with losing a spouse, and you feel like, man, I can't take anything else,
Mhm.
right? Whether if you believe in God or like, yeah, I'm good, right? Like, because I can't take another hit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part where, for a lot of people, when you go through loss, there's a part like, I mean, I know for me, like, I personally felt like I'm good. I think you've given me, I've got the biggest thing that I could deal with.
Mhm.
I had the biggest hit, so to speak,
Yeah.
that I could deal with, that I deserve. So life should be easy from now.
Meaning this grief, loss,
So
that
not just myself, to the
just yourself,
family.
to the
Right.
family, this should be
That should
it,
be
at
it
least
from
at
now.
this stage.
Yeah, that should be it at this stage.
Okay.
Right. And I think a lot of people go through that, right? Like balancing that. But
Mhm.
in a day and age now where like every company is doing layoffs,
Yeah.
you know, from the blue collar companies all the way up through the white collar companies, like,
Mhm.
you know, big and small, like everybody's feeling it right now. Everybody is, you know, kind of potentially going to be impacted in some form or fashion. Right. And that's the hard part.
The waves, the cycles.
Yeah.
This here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is the emotional, here we go. Can I get a break?
Mhm.
Can I get a break? Right. And I think that's something that, you know, you get through fatigue of going through loss of a spouse, loss of a partner. Now you got to go through this other wave.
Mhm.
Like, oh my gosh, loss of a job, right? Loss of my financial stability. What's
Mhm.
this going to do to my family? And I think the thing that, you know, that I've thought about in this, you know, is, you know, I would say the core theme on this one
Mhm.
really is like that grief actually, you know, it actually prepares you for survival, right? It prepares you to be able to pivot to a new way to think about things, a
Mhm.
new approach, a new strategy, right? It prepares you for surviving another battle,
Mhm.
right? And I think that's the reality of it. You've already been tested,
Mhm.
right? You've already been battle tested.
This couldn't
So
be worse.
this couldn't be worse,
Yeah.
right? And it just as frustrating, as angry as you could be, the reality is I've dealt with worse.
Mhm.
I've survived worse. I've gotten back up from worse. Right.
I think the challenge too, and something you have worked through, but then also for those listening to us, is your identity is hit again. Because as men in particular, so often we're defined by the jobs that we hold, the positions, the titles, when all that stuff at the end of the day, in the final analysis,
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
However, that's how society sees us. Oh, well, where does he work? Or what does he do? What's
Yeah.
his job? How much money does he make? When it should be, well, what's his connection to his family, his children? Is he a good person?
Mm-hmm.
Is someone like, that? So that again, we're so tied up with this idea of this job equals identity. It equals this sense of structure, and to ourselves and maybe to society, it's this sense of validation that this is the only measure by which
Yeah.
we are seen, perceived as important
Yeah.
to our family and to a greater society.
And I think there's this piece, right? It you know, the identity element is real because there's always this thought for me, and I think you could think, I'm sure you feel it too, is like loss is humbling.
Yep.
Right. It allows you to really check back into like, well, who am I really at the end of the day? Like my identity may or may not have been these things that I thought it was. And I think losing a job brings you back to that same place,
Mhm.
right? You know, and asking yourself, well, okay, well, without this job, who am I?
Mhm.
Right? You fundamentally haven't changed. You're still the same person.
Right.
The job is not going to be the same.
That's right.
You know?
And the job doesn't define you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't define you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different losing a person versus losing a job. It's
Mhm.
so much of your identity is definitely tied to this existence you were supposed to have with that person. Whether it's a good relationship or not, you're still formed by that relationship with that person. A job it's a job.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
it's a
Hopefully you enjoy it.
hopefully you enjoy it, but it's called job and work for a reason.
Right.
It's called work.
You leave for a reason, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah. Or, the fit is elsewhere for you.
Yeah.
But it's what's happening in your personal life.
Yeah.
And what's happening with that person that you're sharing this existence and moving forward with.
Mhm.
So losing person is definitely different than
Yeah.
losing jobs, no question.
Yeah.
When you lost your job, what kind of hit you first? Did you have to think about it as far as was there fear or identity? I mean, what did you kind of think of?
The part that hit me first was I actually happy?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that's something, particularly like at this stage I am in my career, you and I talk about like what's next.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 50, like retirement's a good throwaway,
Mm-hmm.
but I can see the touchdown.
Sure.
Right. I can see the end zone.
Oh, shoot, I like that.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and that part, like I've been thinking about more as when I think about like the time that I want to give to my family, that what values we have as a family and what's important to us and what that looks like, at retirement. So it wasn't so much with, around, oh my gosh, my identity is tied to this place, but it was more like, man, how does this affect my ability to get downfield?
Because it's there.
Because it's there.
The touchdown's there.
The touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to score.
Right.
Right. Like at some point I'm going to score. It could be 2 points. It could be 3 point. It could be full on, good touchdown. Like, but I'm going to score. Like, I know I'm going to score.
Yeah.
I think that's the part where it affected me that way. Like, ooh, how does this affect like the plan?
Mm-hmm.
And, they say, my father always tells me, you make plans and God laughs.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And that's it. The plan has changed. I haven't changed. I think the part that hit me the hardest was more like, ooh, bills.
Yeah.
Right. Like, thankfully I'm in a place where, like, my wife and I, Jordan and I are very planful. My now wife, we are very planful. Thankful of her, because I was in survival mode for so long.
Right.
As a single dad.
Yeah.
And even during Janice's cancer battle, like my late wife's cancer battle, I was in survival mode for a long time. So thankfully, when I kind of got through that and got past that, like we were very planful about like what happens when there's an emergency. And when you're at a company for 10 years plus, you can get comfortable. Like, I'm good.
For sure.
Right. But I think that the part where it's like, okay, well, what's next is the fear of this search, finding the right job. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Finding the thing that not just is going to pay the bills, but I'm going to enjoy doing, hopefully, is when is that going to come?
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
Yeah. And I think this idea, this theme about loss of this identity, you definitely will lose your income.
Yeah.
I would kind of change it around that you're not necessarily losing a part of yourself. It's closing out of that chapter. And then, as you said, you reevaluate. Well, was I happy? Don't I need to find some other stuff at this point in my life that makes me happy? So I that's the way I.
So then you get into like maybe this isn't so much of maybe this is more of a new version.
Yeah.
Right. Of who I am and what I should be doing as part of my life.
Yeah. I definitely can see that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we the pressure of providing, kind of, I alluded to it, like whether you're one income, two income, like there's going to be the pressure. You build your lives off of functioning with a certain level of comfort or access or things that you can provide to your kids.
Sure.
And when you lose an income, especially if you're the sole breadwinner coming out of a situation where you're the only parent, that shit is terrifying.
It sure is.
Right? Like,
I mean, that's where I am now.
Right.
It's nothing is promised and guaranteed to me. I know that. Yeah.
And I think that's the reality. Like you have to be prepared that prepared for the reality that nobody is completely safe from the economics, from business decisions, right? And the one thing that I know a lot of people do, personalize it.
Yeah.
Like how come I wasn't performing? Was I not performing well enough? Or my employer was not thoughtful enough, or whatever. Like, it's hard to remove those feelings for some people, and understandably, but it's just the company, right? And they're there for a purpose, to make money, right? And I think that's the hard part sometimes, to remove yourself from that and get into that pressure of providing, whether it's internal pressure that you give to yourself, or whether it's the external pressure and external realities that you've got to make sacrifices as a family right now. How are the kids going to look at you when you have to say, no, we can't do this? Or maybe we thought we were going to go on vacation, but now we're not. I'm personally thankful that it happened to me after the vacation.
Right.
Like after my family took a vacation, because if it happened to me before we took a vacation, I might have been like, yeah, nah, like, only half of us are going.
We're canceling it all. Austerity measures. Yeah, nah, we ain't doing that. And the other, no.
Choices might have been different, and I think that's.
But not only that, it's, you're modeling for your children. Hey, when adversity hits, how do we deal with it?
Right.
What are the steps to whatever level they're going to see?
Yeah.
And internalize that original program we always talk about, Jamal, right? This original program. What happened in your household growing up that you then take when you have your own family, and whether you repeat some of the good things or bad things that happened in the household that you grew up in, that you carry over, what translates in this contemporary society in your household now. And so they're looking at y'all, you guys that we're talking to, the two of us, they're looking at us to see how we deal with all.
And that's something that I think about too, right? Like I remember, so of course I told my wife right away. I did not do the thing that some people do where they pretend to go to work for 2 or 3 weeks. I told my wife that day, and I also told I told Zaya that day. She's in the house, and I told her that day, and I said, hey, like, went upstairs. She came home from school. I walked up and I said, hey, like, I think I asked how her day was going, and then after shooting the shit for a couple of minutes, I said, hey, like, I have something to tell you. I got let go today. And she was like, what? Surprised, and gave me a hug, and are you okay? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. And I actually was, right? I actually am good.
Yeah.
But being honest with her in that moment that, hey, we're probably going to have to make some sacrifices, but I don't want you worrying about me, right? I'm going to get through this. We will get through this together. I'm going to be looking for a new job and taking my time to figure out what's next, but we're okay. We will be okay. Yeah. And just giving her that comfort and reinforcement for me was like the first step that I needed to do with her. Simona, she's 5. She's, she comes home every day, and I'm
as you were.
It's like as I was. So she's too young for it to, to notice. As long as I'm making her breakfast in the morning, she's probably fine and happy. But that was important. I think the other part is, the kind of idea here is like, just because life gets hard, and just because this is going to be a new struggle for the family, doesn't mean that my responsibilities go away.
That's right.
Like, they fundamentally go away. There's a new version of Jamal. There's going to be a new version of you, but your responsibilities are the same.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't ignore that they're there.
Yeah.
You may have to take a different strategy to tackle them and to deal with them. Right. That's what has to change.
This too shall pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what we can learn in this next theme is pulling in the grief experience to the loss of a job. Now, we talked about it a little earlier in this conversation, but I think there's a little bit more I think we can say about it, is that I think as widowers, when we look at ourselves now, it's, man, how did I get through all this as far as the emotional piece?
Yeah.
Because plenty of stories of men who have not been able to cope with life without a partner.
Or a woman, yeah. Or yeah.
Whatever that partner is, yeah, exactly. That we lost wives.
Mm-hmm.
That's the construct we know,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's gone.
Right.
But we survived despite all of that, and I think it's, again, if we can go through that, oh hey man, we can
Yeah.
deal with the job thing.
Yeah.
We can definitely get through that.
Yeah. And that thing they say, what doesn't kill you,
Makes
so
you stronger.
will make you stronger.
Yeah, no question about it.
Right. And I think it's important. I think it's true. It's like, this is not worse than losing. Like, losing my job is not worse than losing.
Yeah.
Right. It's not worse than losing Janice. It's not worse than losing
Your late wife. Yeah.
my late wife. It's not worse than losing my mother-in-law. It's not like I'd rather go through job loss 1,000 times than to lose a loved one.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's something that, when you think about that and you put that perspective, I think that's important to keep in front of you.
Yeah. I mean, talk about the ultimate pressure of, in the below the surface, all these emotions,
Mm-hmm.
the sense of loss and absence, just trying to work through that, as on the surface you're still conducting life, that you're living with the people who count on you and what have you. That's a lot of pressure, and yet we've pushed through that, meaning all of us who are talking,
Exactly.
and you listening, and especially our community, we get plenty of stories of that, and we want to continue to hear more of those stories.
Right.
But I think that's definitely true, is there isn't anything greater as far as functioning under pressure than losing a spouse.
Yeah.
Losing, for sure, there's no question.
Yeah.
So you already talked about this, but what are you actually using right now from kind of the level of grief in this journey that you were accustomed to at one time? What are you using from that journey for kind of right now?
Change. Right. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, my days are different.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Understanding that, similar to when I lost my late wife, the life was different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my morning routine became different.
Mm-hmm.
More things were now on me than they were before. And that reality of understanding that with every challenge, with every experience, you're going to have to recognize that things are going to change, routine is going to change, and in a way, like, the way you motivate yourself has to change, right? I had, like, when Janice passed, my motivation was getting the kids up in the morning, getting the kids out the door, getting them home safely, getting them fed, getting them to bed. That was the motivation.
Yeah.
Right. And do all of that safely. Right. And it became easier and easier. And then I was able to kind of focus more on, okay, like, my safety, my health, like my mental health. The change now is, I'm not getting up today, right now, with somebody else's to-do list. Right. It's my to-do list, my family's to-do list, things that I have to pay attention for them. And yeah, I have to also be plugged in to, like, what comes next for me, like, understanding and taking the time and the space to actually think about, what do I actually want to do now?
Right.
What should I be doing now? Right. What is this new version of me?
Yeah.
And I think it's like understanding that, like, that looks and feels different. Like, there's a part where I wake up now and I'm like, man, this is void. There's something missing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was work. Work is missing. And you think about how much that consumes of you.
Yeah.
And when you don't have it, like, not to say that finding a job isn't work. It is. But it's different. It's a different set of deliverables. Like, I am the person who sets the deadline. I am the person who determines what the ROI is.
Yeah.
Right. Not some company.
That's right.
Right. And I think that's the change. That's what's different now.
Definitely change. And I think it also goes back to our conversations before about setting this routine as well.
Yeah.
And the things that have always carried you through, especially from through the most difficult times of losing a spouse, of, okay, let me get my health right.
Yep.
Let me make sure I'm eating right.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that if I see I'm dipping down, I have people around me to have the conversation, because that's what this is about, is people around me.
It's easier for me to dig into the bag of popcorn today, right? It is easier for me to, but then I have to look at myself and say, nah, this is not part of the routine.
It's
and
not
process
in
of,
you.
yeah.
Why it shouldn't enter that kind of thinking or that routine. It's actually disrupting what you can go back to your hits, the good ones.
Yeah, exactly. And learning new things, like, I mean, learning or tuning into new aspects of who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that I'm in that phase now of like, okay, what are these new things that I should be thinking about? Right.
Yeah. And I think it's this core idea of those first muscles built from loss prepares you for what you're going to need, and you didn't know you were going to need them again, but here you are. So I think that's definitely what it is.
Yeah, I think that the one thing, as we think about, like, for those who are just embarking on this or new to this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, the last few years, I feel like this has just been the reality.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the economy, some people say the economy is great. Some people say the economy is, but I think it depends on where you are, what industry you're in.
Exactly.
Right. Like, I think
what's your tax bracket?
Your tax bracket, really, how insulated you are.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the reality is, like, I mean, you're talking about over 1 million job cuts just last year.
Yeah.
Another, we're probably trending to that this year.
Yeah.
Right. When you just to name a few companies, Meta, with, I think, 10,000 employees cut last year, probably another 10,000 to be cut this year. Amazon, over 27,000 employees. I mean, every of the major companies, right? And I laugh at this list just reading these off, because, like, these are companies that I would probably go and be like, oh yeah, I'm leaving my company and now I'm going to go work for these companies. And they're all, like, when you list that, it can be disheartening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just ad tech.
And that's just ad tech.
But it's all of these other in these other industries as well.
Yeah.
You see UPS, the jobs are being lost, cut, minimized, phased out there as well.
Nike.
I mean, come on. Right. And you know how you love those shoes.
Nobody's not buying it.
Oh, man.
Right. So
that, I think, the reality is, as you said, is more coming, and it's insulating yourself and kind of thinking about what next and what makes sense.
Yeah. One of the things I think you have to, one of the first steps, like, again, that's to move from the sour note, right? Unfortunately, those, like, all these companies are trying to figure out ways to make more money, to save more money, whatever the metric, KPI, whatever the checkpoint is. Like, you've got to figure out, like, how do you reposition what you already know?
Yep.
Right. What's the fastest path to get back? And I don't say fastest in a sense of, like, this reckless, abandoned job search. I think it has to be very intentional, and you have to really think about, okay, like, what's the right way that I can do this? Thinking back to your core responsibilities, right? Being present for your kids, letting them know, like, you're there. I would say if you're a family who's more recently going through the grieving process, not eliminating your ability to be present for your kids, right? Like, I think that's important too. But, I think you've got to kind of, like, in a way, you've got to explore the different things, right? If you're in a position to consult, if you're in a position to do contract or side jobs, if depending on where you are in your career, can you be advisory or go work for a different, company or industry altogether? I think those are things that have to work, but I think you really have to do kind of like an inventory on, like, what is it that you are capable of, so that you can at least know what cars you have at your disposal.
Yeah, and I think in this first category that we're kind of talking about, now this is somebody maybe with a degree or years of experience.
Yeah.
You're not starting over, you're repackaging yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the part, right? That part is there's a part of it which, like, you've almost kind of got to be as flexible as you possibly can. to position yourself to the different opportunities that at the end of the day, they're going to allow you to like pay your bills and take care of your family.
Yeah.
I think that's important. And then there comes the balance of how you find those jobs, right? Like there's the whole bunch of debate of like how many of these jobs and job boards are real versus like, the different ways. Like I remember when I was younger, it was like the spray and pray strategy.
Right.
You just
Get these 100 out. It's
a volume.
somebody's gonna
Somebody
tax call somebody. Yeah.
But now, like when you're in a situation where you have a network, right? If you have a network, a community of people, that you've worked with that know you, that know your work, and know what you're capable of. Like I think it's important to tap into that network more than anything.
Yeah.
So
I think kind of this, as you're thinking about the new world and looking for jobs, the next thing is really you may need to pivot to adjacent industries.
Yeah.
These are these same skills, but we know this is a new market now.
Yeah.
So it's not, you don't kind of need a new identity. That's not what we're saying. It's just a new arena now. So when we think of, and we just kind of did a little research on a little bit of this, is that, for strong industries or the appropriate ones for mid-career transition. So you've been at a job for a number of years. You've been at a college for a while. You have some amount of experience. The need is here. I'll just name a few: healthcare administration, and just repackaging those skills there.
Yeah.
Operations, vendor management. So the people who come in and out of the hospital system, who are we want to set up new chairs here, or we need new medical equipment here, whatever that is just speaking with those vendors, down to the kitchen, whatever it is, whatever the resources for managing that area. And then someone who an engineer understands logistics, or someone who's just been good at that. It's an operations person. And then the supply chain. Well, what do we need to bring in here at the right price? That kind of thing. Property management, real estate as well.
There's always real estate.
There's always a place that needs someone to fill, commercial or residential. There's no question about that. Renewable energy is very, very hot right now.
It's getting hotter.
Oh yes,
it's getting hotter.
Some say it is.
Some say it is
for a certain reason. Some say it's not. A certain reason it's getting hotter. But go ahead.
No, I think that one's true. I think renewable energy and infrastructure, like whether it's renewable energy or whether it's declining infrastructure of existing, energy resources. Like there's no shortage of work that should be done.
Right.
And needs to be done. I think it's, again, taking advantage of those right opportunities.
And Jamal, we're older parents. And we are sons and daughters of older parents.
Right.
We have older parents.
Yeah.
So the senior services, assisted living.
Yeah.
We're aging more
so
now than we have a population to replenish it to a great extent.
Yeah.
Fewer people having children, having more dogs and cats and others.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's bad, having dogs and cats. I'm just saying, I'm just looking at the numbers and the population. So I don't want any comments about I have something about dogs and cats because
No, but I mean, it's true. It's like these are industries in a way that would like feed. They're looking for people to come in to fill a lot of these roles, to do work that they need a lot more people to do.
Yeah.
Right. And being able to think differently about their industries because they're growing, right? These are industries that haven't necessarily been growing fast, but they are more so now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's how do you translate your experience?
Yeah.
Right. Into that language? How do you bring what you've done for another industry or another company into these new places? I think that's important, and being able to think about making that bridge.
Yeah.
Right. Bridging. There's certifications out there that are, I won't say they're easy to get because they're time and their cost, but like you got to think about the investment that you make in yourself.
Yeah. And I think redefining whatever the role that you were in for that new area, that new industry. So if you're in brand partnerships or something, that's more about revenue growth from that relationship or vendor relationships or whatever it is. So maybe it's transferable in that way when you're thinking of that adjacent.
Yeah, I think it's about being creative about how do you, again, create this new version of yourself that can continue supporting your family the way you want to. I'll pass this next one to you.
Okay.
I think we talked a little bit about this, and I know you were excited. To talk about the skilled trades.
I am.
Right.
I am. Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, MEP as they call it, and a lot of it comes from Jamal and I are in old homes, so we see a lot of people come through, and you already all know I'm very chatty, and I'm curious. I'm just a curious person. So I have different service people come in about the oven, the refrigerator, the washer and dryer. I wonder, hey, tell me about this world that you're in, and a lot of them tell me, and this goes into the story that I told at a client dinner or lunch that I had recently. So I was mentioning that I have a lot of people come through, not a lot, but sometimes it seems that way.
Yeah.
With these old homes that we're in, and I went, hey, how did you get into dishwasher repair? And then they go through, oh yeah, there's training program, and they pay very good money to start, and they need a lot of professional people who have this sense of ownership of what they're working on. They meaning they want people to take as great care of that item they're fixing, washer, dryer, whatever the plumbing, whatever it is, as if it were their own home.
Right.
And that sense of professionalism, because there's a lot of folk who aren't going out for those jobs because in their mind they think, oh, I have this degree, I'm not going into this professional service area of MEP. They need folk there big time. They're always going to need to fix a washer, dryer, an oven, because a lot of it is electronic as well. So that training, if you come from engineering or math, whatever it is, they need you. So I was at this lunch, and as I was saying to a client who had a brother who had just come out, and he's been looking for a job for a while, with a master's in computer science, can't find a job. So those places we listed before where they're cutting jobs, that's the platinum places that folk want to go. Maybe that's not it, because there's so many people trying to go for those jobs. Hey man, you may need to talk to your brother about the mechanical, electric, and plumbing. Because there are a lot of opportunities there. Electricians, plumbers, those working on HVAC systems, the actual technical, not just the manual and physical part of that. And why this is such a great world is there's great demand for people in this world. There's massive shortage of skilled labor right now. There are businesses, someone owns an HVAC, they're older, they don't have anybody
trying to sell. They're trying to sell their businesses.
Right. And private equity's already gotten into this world.
Oh yeah,
they're buying a whole bunch of these. So there's a gentleman I used to call on. He started one. It's $1 billion company now.
Wow.
So there's a lot that we're overlooking when we come out with certain degrees and think, oh, that's the direction I need to go. No. You need to look over here as well. There's something that you may be missing out on that's going to give you that sense of control and ownership.
I mean, you mentioned that. I have the gentleman who owns the pest control company we use. He didn't start it. I think his father started it years ago, and he was off doing something else, lawyer or something, I can't remember. But eventually his father was getting too old and decided he wanted to get rid of the business, and he said, wait, hold on, Dad, I don't want to do what I'm doing anymore. And he took his father's business over and just expanded it.
Exactly. So
I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Now there is some training involved. Could be 6 to 24 months, depending on what you're looking to do. There's some physical work to some of this, but there are supervisory roles that you can ascend to. and it'll probably come fairly quickly for some when you kind of prove yourself in different ways.
Yep.
And especially when you think about some of the folks in our category, Jamal, of the 50 plus, is you know, you're not going to be crawling under the house forever. And maybe physically you can't do that.
Yeah,
but
I'm at that point.
Oh, you're at that.
I'm
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that point.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
But there are other inside, outside, of course, that may fit for kind of how you manage kind of the physical aspect of it.
Yeah, like bringing those managerial skills to other industries, to other businesses. To your point, like we talked about, like that's helpful. I think another one is government and institutional roles.
Okay.
Again, they may not have the shiny, bright names that we all, follow and use and all of that, but the reality is, like, they're great jobs. I have personally many friends who work for the government in different capacities, and yes,
come under scrutiny lately.
Come under scrutiny and all of that, but the reality is those jobs, statewide, local-wide, or federal-wide, like, they're still there, right? And those companies, in many cases, they're suffering because everybody wants to go and work for, the big names. Yeah. But I think those are all, all viable companies, and reason why those are great. There's less age bias in many cases. Benefits are amazing. Your income is very predictable, right? Because they've got to follow a lot of guidelines. In many cases, there's unions and things of that sort that are in place. The challenge is, like, sometimes it's slower. Yeah. Right. So if you were interested in it, start the process earlier. And then, there are situations where there's potentially lower upside, right? So, the progress upwards is a slower process, or, a more, more not a straight line process, more about time versus output in some cases.
And in some cases, you may not have it if you're of a certain age, and that's true. That's reality,
right? Like,
or want it.
Or want it.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
yeah.
I think then just controlling your own destiny, if you can, just an individual business owner, entrepreneurship, figure out what those surfaces are that are transferable to kind of this new world that you're in. So and
that doesn't necessarily mean easier work.
No.
Right, because I think that's the reality too. Is start your business is not an easy thing.
Right,
it takes time, commitment.
However, it can be very fulfilling for those who are kind of controlling what they can control as far as their income, earning, just their sense of, if I do X, I'm actually getting Y back.
Right.
That at work sometimes it doesn't feel that when you work for somebody.
So you run your own business. A lot of times your failure is your failure.
That's it.
When you work for somebody else, another big company, your failure is not always your failure.
Right.
It's, because somebody else didn't do what they needed to do, or the business strategy or decisions changed way above your pay grade.
Totally.
So a little bit more control.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think we kind of talked about the MEP world, so the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, so that those kind of home services. And then it's also think about what your skills are, and then it's this kind of niche consulting based on what you have done before, and kind of setting up shop in that way. We know some people who are franchise owners as well. We've heard the good and we've heard the challenging as it relates to that.
And if same with a network, if you are thinking about exploring your own business, franchising, consulting, MEP, or something like that, reach out to your network, see who's doing it. Learn from somebody's successes as much as somebody else's mistakes. I think it's very helpful. And then, what actually works after a year of being unemployed. I'm not there yet. We spoke to Dijon, a few months ago.
So Dijon, just again, he's a marketing professional, someone in Jamal's network in the past. He gave us experience. He's been unemployed for a lengthy time. So but
I mean, I think that's the important part. Like you again, the job boards are the job boards. You could debate what percentage of those roles are real. You could debate what percentage of those roles are posted because they have to go through the process and they may be already pegged for somebody else. But they're there. So obviously you see great opportunities that are exciting, that look like there's something you could do. Get your resume out, reach out to somebody in your network, even better, to see, hey, you work at this company, or do you know this team? Can you kind of connect me or give me some perspective? I think that's always great. The direct outreach is always infinitely better. So continue to leverage your network aggressively. I'm in that phase right now of like really tapping into my network. And in some cases, I have people in my network proactively reaching out to me.
Yeah.
This is one thing like that I think we didn't talk about. Your identity in the element of shame, right? A lot of people, a lot of us feel shame when we lose our jobs.
Yeah.
And it's okay to go through that, especially in a situation where it's just like, if they came back to a situation where it's like performance related, great. Like you've got to do some introspective looking and see what was going on.
Yeah.
But I would say majority of these layoffs, people impacted by layoff, is not performance related, right? It's a numbers game. But I think you do feel shame. Don't feel shame telling people you need help. Don't feel shame saying to somebody, hey, this chapter has closed. I'm looking for my next chapter. I think that for me has been revealing right at this point in my career, being able to open that up and have that conversation with my network, and having my network proactively reach out to me and say, how can I help?
Yeah.
They may not have the answer. They may not have a job, but they're actually reaching out. If I'm not reaching out to them, in many cases, they're reaching out to me and saying, hey, I know what you're capable of. How can I help? Right.
Yeah.
That's huge. So like, don't, I think it's hard. I say, it's easier said than done, but, try to dig yourself out of that shame element of being, because guess what? We just ran through the list. If you were part of it and you worked at one of the big tech companies, there are 10,000 other people, right, that unfortunately went through what you went through.
Or the other service companies, they're all, it's right. Across the board. So yeah, I think that's a really good point, especially those who've been out and over a year or more and unemployed and very much want to get back in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's about staying active.
Yes.
I think is important, even if it's unpaid, because people are seeing what your skills are. And that's where so many employers are thinking about bringing people onto their team. Not that someone can oversee something so much, but they have the skills to actually do the thing they used to oversee.
Yeah.
So whether that's a consulting project of some sort, volunteer roles in volunteer organizations, people can see and they work at other places, or maybe you go to not-for-profit. Maybe that's another departure to something you hadn't thought of. So that there is also that. Anything really that shows there isn't this huge gap in your activity, because then there'll be questions. Yes, we all go through that sense of shame of why am I, or you're fortunate if you don't have to go through it, but the reality is that many of us now, the numbers bear out, that we are going through this.
Yeah.
So it's, what are you doing to fill that time? Because you're going to have to talk about it in some form or fashion, and it can be a source of strength as well, not showing or expressing some kind of weakness as well.
And it's a healthy way. When we talk about modeling, if your kids see you and you're unemployed, you're not working, and you're, in front of the TV, eating, with the hand in the back popcorn bag every
you
day.
Love that popcorn, boy. You've been eating a lot of popcorn.
I have had a lot of.
Is that what's going on?
I've done after my workout, though. After my workout, But I mean, I think so Trader Joe's has this great.
Oh Lord,
they have a great kettle corn popcorn. It's like my crack right now.
You're hungry, right?
I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Lunchtime.
Yeah.
But no, I think the other part, right? Like back to that point, it allows you to also show your kids what resilience look like.
Yeah.
Like when your kids, your family, see that you are not letting this thing get you down.
Yeah.
It's a reminder to them of how hard you worked to get them through loss. How hard you worked to get them through the last challenge your family faced. And they're seeing it once again. So you're emulating what success in struggle looks like.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's important, for you to have, and also helps with your own sense of self-worth. Right. That's important.
Yeah.
And it allows you to control, like you said, it's like you're controlling your narrative.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're saying, hey, yeah, haven't worked for this company for a while, but here's what I've done since then.
Right.
Right. And it's you really taking ownership and controlling your destiny. Um, I think a big part of it is, the last, a really important part of this is it's a mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
You're going from a place of comfort, potentially a place of comfort, knowing that you had this check, these benefits,
Yeah.
this lifestyle that was insulated and protected. And you're going from this mindset, of that changing, but also feeling like maybe you're now not where you need to be. Maybe you're behind where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But the reality is, like, you're probably just coming from a situation where you were undervalued
Mm-hmm.
in the wrong system.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you have to find yourself in the right system where you are valued, whether that's you doing something completely left field from what you were doing, whether it's you doing your own business, right, or finding joy in something else. I think it also helps. Potentially, it's a rebalancing act.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a lot of us are working for companies and putting in hours, long hours, and then those long hours may be taken away from something, or that lifestyle or that work, the work that you were doing might have been taken away from something else. It allows you to really check in and say, what was the balance, or what is the balance that I really want?
Yeah. I mean, experience is still going to win here.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
If you're able to show that it's just not only in the traditional hiring funnels where you're looking for a job and boom, 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 in a template of here are the things that we need for this job. And no, it's going to be expressed in other ways. And if you're bringing that list of experience that we talked about during that gap period, then it's, oh, wow, you did all these other things.
Right.
This is the kind of resilience and experience that we also need in this kind of role.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, the goal is income. Right. It's income and relevance. It's not necessarily a title.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Right. Like that's at the end of the day, you're doing this to bring income and to have relevance and to take care of your family. The titles could be, a broom pusher. It could be, a truck driver.
Yeah.
It could be VP of something. But the reality is, like, you're there to bring, bring income.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where the relevance comes and tied into that.
Yeah.
Well, it's about real talk as it relates to this. This is this real sense of real time getting back up. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And it doesn't come with, like, this isn't like, there's no TED talk for this, right? Like, like, you could listen to all the inspirational speeches and all the phone calls from people telling, man, you'll be all right. You'll get through this. Like, this is you in it real time.
Yeah.
Dealing with this, going through the quiet moments of the day. I deal with this now personally, where I'm used, maybe there was 5-6 hours of phone calls and conference calls and meeting with people and one-on-ones. And now it's not necessarily that. It can be if I wanted it to, right? If I want to, I can pick up the phone and call David all day and harass him while he's supposed to be in meetings. Or I could set up calls with people. But I think there's an element where, you've got to truly think and digest what's going on and take that time to reevaluate who you want to be on the other side of this. And really where you should be focused right now is kind of level setting and understanding your mindset. I think, my wife Jordan will ask me sometimes, like, what'd you do today? Read some books, listen to some music, and really think about what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
that's important time.
That's important time. And it's fine for that to be all I did today. Right. I think the other part is, like, have some healthy conversations. Again, like, don't get the cave approach and kind of, go into the dark cave and deal with this by yourself. Have some conversations, because those will help you to find new ways to think about new things. People may come up with new ideas or have ways to pass you some olive branches to help you through this.
Yeah.
And then it's about action. Like, you're not going to get through this. You're not going to get back up. And we say it all the time. You can't get back up if you just stay down.
That's right.
Like, you got to go through the motions. You got to, turn over get on your knees, push yourself up on your hands, and start that process of stepping forward.
And reaching up to others too. As you said, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yep.
As well. That's what we have to do. That's the community that we have built in our own personal lives, and just kind of navigating that way. Everybody has some challenges, and everybody understands that.
Yeah.
And about that moving forward. But therefore that may look like getting out there. Go to some of these different events that you need to, and have conversations in the adjacent fields that we talked about.
Yeah.
Or it could just be volunteer work wherever. And then you'll see that someone might understand the value that you might bring to this new role that you're looking at, or new career that you're looking at.
Or that thing that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
That you might now have the time to think about how to turn it into something you can do all the time.
Yeah.
And get paid for it.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, the question you have to ask yourself is, what does getting back up look like today? Like, that should be your question.
Yeah.
Every day. What does getting back up and getting through this look like today? That's it. Like, it doesn't need to be this long, exhaustive list. It could be 2 or 3 things, right? It could be one thing, but you got to do it. And again, the core theme or the core idea here is getting back up. It isn't a speech.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not motivation phone calls, because you can ignore those. It's about the daily decisions you make every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, as we were just saying, and just sometimes getting back up, it isn't about inspiration. It's about responsibility and the actions that take place.
Yeah. And sometimes it's about looking at your life and saying, I've done hard before. Like, I've challenged and climbed the mountain.
Yeah.
It's just another mountain to tackle.
For sure. And it's always, as we've said a few times, you're in the valley looking up at the peaks. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's really, we live in the valley looking up at the peak. So it's life is not going to stop testing you.
No. And, and while those tests are going on, you don't have to stop showing up.
Yeah.
Like, you got to show up. If you don't show up for the test, you're going to fail.
That's the work. That's the work. It continues. You got to do it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep getting back up. You got to keep working, keep showing up, and know what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hey, I know you so well now, and I know you will continue that process of getting back up, and the fullness of your life always continues, and that's how you always approach it, is how do I make my life full and complete, and what have I learned? And I know that about you, and also all of you out there. I mean, I imagine you also have to think of that mindset and that action, and building this community and digging into it so you can move forward.
Yep.
So that's why we appreciate you just coming here to getting back up, fighting life after death, and just 2 guys, man. We're just trying to get through it. These hits keep coming.
Thanks for joining us on Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death, the podcast.
Take care.
Take care. Thank you for joining us on Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death. If something in today's episode spoke to you, pass it on, because somebody out there needs to hear this.
For sure. We're on all the social mausoleums, so follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok. Mostly it will be in the form of Get Back Up Podcast.
And be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast.
And remember, getting knocked down is part of life.
But getting back up is how we live.
We'll see y'all next time.